All right, our last section in chapter 4 has to do with inequalities. We are moving on to section 4:9, chapter 4, section 9. And we are solving polynomial inequalities. And remember, we have to know that an inequality is something that is not equal. It could be less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Our essential question is, can you solve polynomial inequalities? Now, these are so similar to what we've been doing. I'm going to start here with example 1. Notice it's almost like we've been doing with solving, but it now has an inequality. So I am going to solve it just like I would. Sorry, I need to have a pen. Y times y minus 3 is less than or equal to 0. So I know that 0 can be a solution. I also know that positive 3 can be a solution. The only way we can tell what the solutions are is we have to actually pick numbers. So I always tell my students, hey, we're going to find a number that is smaller than 0. So in this area of peach that I've highlighted, I'm going to find a number. Well, I'm going to use -1. If I plug in -1 here, is it true that 1 squared minus 3 times -1 is less than or equal? Well, let's see. -1 squared is 1. 1 minus 3 times -1 is -3. Is this less than or equal to 0? No, so I'm not going to graph anything in that section. I'm not going to graph anything. All right, so now I'm going to try the next section. I'm going to try this section right here from 0 to 3. And I always pick a real easy number. I'm going to pick 1 to plug in because that's going to make my life really easy. Remember, anytime I replace a variable with a number, I'm going to plug it in with parentheses. So 1 squared is 1. Minus 3, is this less than or equal to 0? Well, yeah. -2 is less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to fill in this section with my pencil. Now, I'm going to erase this part right here so you can see this one was not filled in. Okay? And notice that because of the less than or equal to, I'm going to plug that in with, or fill in my graph with a closed circle. Now, we also have to check to see if a number greater than 3 works. So you do have to check every single section. So I'm going to check if a number over here works. And I'm going to check that with the number 4. 4 squared minus 3 times 4. Is this less than or equal to 0? Let's see. 16 minus 12. Yeah, that's not less than or equal to 0. So I know this section right here is not going to work, okay? And just for, to make sure that we're checking all of our work, remember if I plug in 0 here, 0 minus 0 is less than or equal to 0. And if I plug in 3 here, 3 squared minus 3 times 3 is less than or equal to 0. So remember that those work, and that's why we're filling in that circle. So just a reminder, we have to check 1, 2, 3 sections, and I know that that y, if I had to write this out, is between 0 and 3, and I have to graph it like that. All right, let's try one more. All right, let's go ahead and start by factoring. I can take an a out, and I have a squared minus 16 is greater than or equal to 0. And I know that this can continue. A plus 4, a minus 4 is less than or equal to 0. So my solutions here are 0, 4, and -4. So remember, I have to check all of those areas. So this is a little bit more time consuming. I have to check -4, 0, +4. So let's find a number that is smaller than -4. I'm going to try -5. Well, negative 5 cubed minus 16 times negative 5, is that greater than or equal to 0? Well, I plugged that one in my calculator and it said negative 45, so that doesn't seem to work. So I'm going to erase all my work, and I know this area is not going to work. All right, let's check now a number that is between 0 and negative 4. So I'm going to pick negative 1 because that's super easy to choose. Negative 1 cubed minus 16 times negative 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Negative 1 plus 16. Hey, this one looks like it works because 15 is greater than or equal to 0. So I'm going to fill it in and fill this in right here. Nice. All right, I have 2 more sections left. Between 0 and 4, I'm going to choose the number 1. 1 cubed minus 16 times 1, is that greater than or equal to 0? Well, 1 minus 16, yeah, that's going to be smaller than 0. So I'm going to not fill that in. And now I'm going to try one more section. This section right here. A number greater than 4, let's try 5. 5 cubed minus 16 times 5 is greater than or equal to 0. Well, 5 cubed is 125. 125 and 16 times 5 is 80. Yeah, that's going to be greater than or equal to 0. So I'm going to fill this in and show my arrow going this way. So now notice I have to state that negative 4 is less than or equal to a, which is less than or equal to 0. Also, a is greater than or equal to 4. So I have to answer it with all of this because it is fulfilling this section right here and this section right here. So I have to show the 2 sections by writing it out. All right, great job, guys. This is a tougher one.